even had to table this question, which is about phase 2 of the construction of Lusk Community College. Now, I tabled this issue 18 months ago at the stage when the construction should have been completed. And now, 18 months on, that's 30% of the educational lifetime of the students. It hasn't even started. So I want to know, what's the reason for the delay, and when is that construction going to be delivered?
The project that the Deputy is raising was authorised to proceed to tender in October 2016. This project is the second phase of accommodation for the school in question and will cater for an additional 650 pupils. Phase 2 of the project will also provide a special needs unit, a sports hall with fitness suite and changing facilities and ancillary accommodation, including a school library. Once this phase is completed, it will bring the capacity of the school up to 1,000 pupils. An incomplete Stage 2B submission from the design team was received in my department in July 2016, leading to a request for further information. A fully compliant Stage 2B submission was received in September 2016. The Stage 2B submission was approved and the project was approved to proceed to tender in October. However, as the pre-qualification of contractors had first been conducted by the design team in April 2015, the design team, concerned about the possibility of legal challenges, asked the Office of Government Procurement for advice on this matter. The advice was that it would be prudent to run the pre-qualification again. The design team has recently rerun the pre-qualification of suitable contractors and is currently finalising a short list of up to 10 contractors who will be requested to tender for the project. Subject to no issues arising, it is anticipated that construction will commence in the summer of 2017 and the project is scheduled to take approximately 18 months to complete.
That the whole debacle has been a devastating blow to the community that waited 30 years for its own secondary school in one of the most rapidly expanding urban parts of Dublin. And what I want to know is really who is at fault, because when I tabled this question 18 months ago, I was told at that stage the tender documentation was and the architectural planning was at an advanced stage. You tell me that 8 months later there was a fault in that, which meant another tendering process had to kick in. Who are the design team? Who are they answerable to, and who pays? Because at the moment, the people paying for that are the students in Lusk, who are not getting the same calibre of education as their peers because they're in overcrowded classrooms. We know there's an over-reliance on prefabs, high density of students congregating in the one communal area, insufficient class sizes for specialised subjects. Your own department last year, a year ago, said the laboratory facilities were inadequate for the number of classes. The number of classes now are even greater. So there's not much solace that it's going to be probably delivered in 2018 when they thought and were assured it should have been developed in 2016. So who are the design team answerable to, and who is at fault for the incomplete documentation which was submitted in July 2016?
Minister.
It is my understanding that the design team would have been appointed by the Dublin Dunleary ETB, so they're appointed by the ETB. To be fair, I mean, I've seen in many school projects that delays occur, and the question of looking for fault or ascribing fault isn't always, the route to go. There may be some unanticipated thing that crops up, planning issues or whatever. So it's not my business to try and ascribe fault. But, I think the department has been fair. We do try to make sure that we use our resources to the very best effect. We would not be thanked if, for example, they proceeded to tender and it was a legal challenge, and the next thing we were in the courts and we were fighting a court case about some aggrieved person who felt they should have got the tender. So, there are processes in place that are there to protect both the taxpayer and the school, and these have been applied in this case. I'm not going to get into the business to try and ascribe fault, because I don't know the full record of how this proceeded. But I've explained the situation, that there was an incomplete submission, that was corrected. It has been approved, but on legal advice, a fresh tender process has been undertaken.
Final supplementary.
You can't comment, or you wouldn't have the level of detail, and I'm not interested in fault for the sake of it, but I am interested in lessons being learned and problems not reoccurring. And the simple fact of the matter is that in September 2015, when this project should have been completed, I was told by your predecessor that issues were at an advanced stage awaiting tender documentation. You've told me that that documentation, which was handed in July 2016, 9 months later, was incomplete. Now, how could that be? And who are the design team? Private contractors, I would assume. I assume they're on a departmental panel or whatever. Is this something that they've done in other areas? Because if they're doing this job, you'd be thinking they'd have that level of expertise. Because the people who are paying the price of that are the students in that facility now who aren't being given access, and they've only one chance at an education. They've already lost 30% of their educational life while we've delayed previously. And now you're telling me there's another 30% of a wait when it is going to be completed. But neither myself nor the parents can take great solace from that, because we were told that before and it wasn't delivered. So can I ask you, Minister, to maybe go back and have a look at that, or ask your departmental officials to look at why were those documents incomplete in that 9-month period, given that at the stage I was asking that, the project should have already been completed.
Well, I will ask my department officials to examine whether there are lessons to be learned from this experience. I just don't know that. I mean, obviously, in the first instance, a design team is accountable to the school, in this case, the ETB. But they obviously, I don't know whether it was an oversight, whether it was a mistake, whether it was what it was. But I will ask officials to have a look at what was the source of delay, and are there lessons to be learned.
Thank you. We move to